Good evening, Fairfield University students. I'm here at the Open Visions Forum where Mika Brzezinski and Mika Crowley are here to speak. I got to have a brief interview with them talking about politics and students across the country. Hi, how are you today?
Hi.
Good, good. So I just want to ask a couple questions about, you guys are doing politics now because of the elections and everything, so I just want to see what your take is on it. I mean, who are you going to be voting for?
I won't be telling.
Oh, you won't be telling, okay.
Yeah, but she can.
Yes. I mean, I'm famously conservative, so I will be voting for John McCain.
Okay, and why is that?
Because I believe that John McCain is the best candidate of the two to lead this country in wartime.
Right.
I believe he passes the commander-in-chief threshold, which to me is the #1 issue. And I know most Americans disagree with me and think the economy is #1, and certainly the economy is the most urgent issue. But I think overall the most pressing issue facing the United States is both the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, the broader war on terror. And so to me, you don't have an economy if you're facing a graver crisis. So I think that John McCain, both on the economy and on military and national security issues, is far more qualified to be commander-in-chief and president of the United States.
And what do you think about Palin with him?
You know, I think that the attacks on Sarah Palin have been among the most vicious I've ever seen in my life. And I know that politics is hardball and it's not child's play. And I think when you enter political life at a certain level, Congress, governor, vice president, president, you expect to be attacked, you expect to be criticized. That goes with the territory. But I think the level of attacks and the intensity and inappropriateness and brutality of the attacks against Sarah Palin have really been beyond the pale. And I think she's added so much to this ticket. I mean, she essentially gave John McCain the month of September. He would not have been running even with Barack Obama in the month of September if it weren't for her. She's energized the Republican base. She brings out crowds that, frankly, John McCain cannot bring out on his own. And I think that because she's 44 years old and she's a woman and a fresh face, not unlike what Barack Obama is doing on the Democratic side, she represents a great future for the Republican Party.
Okay, and now that you've taken, the stance on the balanced stance, how do you cover news like that? And
well, let me add to what Monica's saying, because I think it's very interesting what's happening with Sarah Palin, and I think that we are learning. I think, and also our viewers and our listeners are learning along with us what elitism is and how it can surface when a candidate like Sarah Palin emerges. And what you do see are a lot of elite, uber-educated writers who cannot believe that someone from Alaska who went to the University of, where'd she go? Where'd she go? Seriously,
Idaho.
like Idaho.
Yeah.
Okay. She went. Can actually be a candidate for vice president, and they can't. They can't get their arms around it. And I believe that some of the stuff you're reading in the New York Times and these upper echelon newspapers is not really what people are feeling. And what I noticed was a disconnect in how people felt about Sarah Palin, the crowds that gathered to see her, and the people writing about her. And to an extent, I agree with Monica. I think there has been a real lesson learned here that we'll be looking back on, and members of the media will be ashamed of themselves.
You know, and I just want to flesh that out because I agree with Mika 100% on this. And it's not just elites on the left criticizing Sarah Palin. There are elites on the right. Peggy Noonan, David Brooks, David Fromm.
And why do you think that? Is because they're
Because
male,
I think, no, I agree with Mika. I think, no, there are a lot of women, Kathleen Parker, Peggy Noonan, who have criticized Sarah Palin from the right. I think there's a lot of cultural snobbery being leveled at Sarah Palin. Yeah, I mean, there's some ideological stuff being leveled at her from the left, but that's to be expected. What's not to be expected, and what I find really disturbing, is this cultural snobbery being leveled at Sarah Palin.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Well, I mean, that's terrible that that's happening, but this is the time to address the matters of that situation.
We'll be talking about it.
Yeah, yes, we will.
To bring it back home to Fairfield University, if you could tell the young students here at Fairfield University, or even across the country, anything about the elections, what they should be doing, what would it be and why?
Listen. Really listen. There's a great piece in Newsweek, I believe, that is written by the president of the Council on Foreign Relations, Memo to the Next President, about the foreign policy he is going to face. Read about the economy. I still don't get it. It's scary. We're in a really tough situation, and this decision is important. So I really hate that message. get out the vote. Don't forget to vote.
Right.
Please don't vote if you haven't read.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Right.
seriously.
There's a lot of campaigns, I mean, nowadays
Absolutely.
saying they're going to vote.
There's a lot of voter drives out there dragging people out of their homes to vote. But I really feel like this is one of the most important decisions we're going to make in our lifetimes. And there is a big decision to be made. And the direction of this country will be dramatically different depending on who wins.
Right.
And it's going to be dramatically different 3 months from now when the next president takes office. I mean, think about this. When both parties had their nominating conventions at the end of August and early September, the economy was sort of background noise. I mean, it looked a little shaky and gas prices were high and people were worried about that stuff. But within the space of 2 weeks after that, you had this economic tsunami that just engulfed, it certainly engulfed the McCain campaign. The Obama campaign was able to take advantage of it. And now that's the dominant conversation. And so I think I agree with Mika 100%. Voters, whether they're young or old or anywhere in between, need to really listen to what the candidates are saying. Set aside style. We all know about style. We know about Obama's great style. John McCain has certain style of his own.
Right.
But set that aside and really listen, pay attention to what the candidates are saying, not just on the economy, which those of us in the media we're focused on all the time because it is the dominant issue, but delve into the other issues, tax policy, national security policy, on Iraq, on Afghanistan. What do they really want to do? And make sure that your vote is informed.
What do you think that they really want to do, Afghanistan, the economy? What do you think, McCain or Palin wants to do with the economy?
On the economy or on Afghanistan? On the economy? Well, I think on economic issues, there's a real distinction between the two. And this is what I mean about listening, because the distinction is very direct. I think that what John McCain is talking about is a classic conservative governing philosophy of lower taxes and reducing the size of government, which is what he's been talking about for 25 years. He's railed against earmarks, he's railed against out-of-control government spending, and he's spent the last 25 years in the Congress doing all of those things, and sometimes out in the wilderness by himself doing those things. His counter to Obama is, look, Obama's going to raise your taxes. All of them. Income taxes, capital gains taxes, dividends taxes, payroll taxes, death taxes, natural resource taxes, global poverty tax. And so what McCain is arguing is, look, because the economic situation is so dire right now, you can't afford to impose all of those taxes on the American people. It will literally kill whatever's left of the economy. So that's the distinction. Those are two different arguments. Obama has his own set of arguments about tax cuts and what he intends to do.
He does, and people should look at them. But the other problem that I'm sure you would have put out there, and I'll put it out there, there's a chance there's going to be a rout next Tuesday, and incumbents are going to go out. It could be Democratic control across the board. Do we want that? Do we want unfettered power?
Right.
And what does that do to the direction of our country? I'm not sure it's a good thing. And, you would think that, let's say I'm speaking for the Democrats here, that we would want complete power. I'm still not sure that's a good thing for the direction of our country. There are a lot of different reasons for why you will make your vote, and there's lots of different ways to look at it. And it is also the balance of power that we are going to, if Barack Obama wins this election, which it looks like he will at this point, the Republicans are going to have 4 years in the wilderness, so to speak, but really, quite frankly, to gain power back. Because there are a lot of reasons why actually they will be able to find their voice in a way that they won't if they win this time around. It's a whole different story. I'm getting a little in the weeds here, but it's something for people to think about.
Right, definitely. And just to kind of wrap it up, if you could give students here at Fairfield University, and again across the country, any advice on being a journalist or political activist, what would it be?
You're crazy if you want to do that. What are you thinking?
You have to get up at what time, Mika? Yeah,
don't do it. It's got to be worth it, though.
It comes with its challenges. It comes with its price.
Yeah.
I think it's a really tough business.
But
I love
that's every business, and you got to love it, right?
Yeah. Well, you really do have to love it, and I think the reward, because there are a lot of sacrifices to be made in this profession, but I think that the reward is the tremendous ability you have to influence the way people think, the way they process information, the way they get their information, and that echo chamber is really, I think it's a gift, and it's to be used properly.
And the reward is really not what it would appear to be when you read about these people who have done well in this business. It's not money, and it's, especially in these days, it's the story.
Right.
It's to be able to be a part of the story, to talk about the story, to tell the story.
Right.
And it's the joy of being part of trying to push communicating and spreading a message, in Monica's case, in my case, covering a story. That's
such a
it's
tough time
the
to do
pure
that.
joy of that, and nothing else, really.
That's right.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for meeting with me. In a time of political unrest, we'd like to thank Mika and Monica for coming to Fairfield University to talk about it. I'm Lindley Jane Riley, reporting for News 64. See you later.